Sometimes we can get ourselves into a situation and wonder how we got there. Sometimes it can feel as though life is unravelling and somehow you've lost a sense of balance and control. And worst of all, you can't really make sense of what's happening. But it doesn't feel right, and before long, the feeling gets worse.
Poured curry sauce over my head, hot curry sauce over my head. To which then I went upstairs to go and wash it off, and then he followed me, shouting stuff, and then he slapped me, this great big slap, so, and I remember that feeling of being so petrified, so terrified.
What's considered socially acceptable tends to go through a transformation with every generation. With each generation, usually in complete dismay about what's been allowed to happen in the past.
So I was around the age of about 23, and I remember that feeling of being so petrified, so terrified. I'd ran out of the house, jumped in the car. That was the first moment I got.
Fresh insight usually outs an infringement of the rights of some description. With consideration of the past, we must move forward positively progressive. A lot of prejudices can be traced back to generational conditioning, however. Everyone is not the same, and people do think and act differently.
Domestic abuse. It used to be such a taboo subject.
I just remember thinking, I don't have the strength to match what he's dishing out to me. And all I remember doing is just trying to hide, curl up, and cover my head, and that's all I could really do. But it made me feel really vulnerable and really sad, and it was just hysterically crying, and it made me feel very sad. But more so, it made me just feel like, a bit like a shock, probably, trying to process, the actual magnitude of the forces of the hits,
People still don't talk about what's going on behind closed doors, especially when things are not right. Thoughts of, what will people say? What will people think? What if they don't believe me? What if they find out before help reaches me in time? It can creep into your rationale, chew up any sense of power, any feeling of control you have over your life, and spit you back out like a skeleton in a tracksuit. Your shadow engulfs you. The shame, the denial, the thought of being branded a battered partner, a fool, the potential legalities, the potential upheaval, but most of all,
fear of the consequences.
There are many cases of one-off incidents of abuse, but the reality is, abusive behaviour is usually subtle at the beginning and it gets progressively worse. So let's get informed. Domestic abuse as defined by Police Scotland. Any form of physical, verbal, sexual, psychological or financial abuse which might amount to criminal conduct and which takes place within the context of a relationship. Physical abuse includes all types of assault and physical attacks like hitting, including with objects, punching, kicking and burning. Sexual abuse includes forcing you to have sexual intercourse or forcing you to engage in sexual acts. On April 1st, 2019, legislative changes came into effect to include controlling and coercive behaviour. Mental and emotional abuse includes threats, including threats of violence, criticism and name-calling, controlling what you do, where you go and who you speak to, threatening your children, isolating you from friends or family, accusing you of being unfaithful, threatening to out your sexual orientation to family, friends, or work, or to reveal your HIV or AIDS status. Domestic Abuse Scotland 2018 Act is a legislative changes that can bring abusers to justice. So, why was this change necessary? Domestic abuse does not have to be physical for it to have serious consequences.
Looking back on it now, at the time I wouldn't be able to tell you why I stayed. But looking back on it now, I stayed because I thought he loved me, and I think when you're getting manipulated into believing that the reason that they react the way they react, i.e. the way they become violent, is because they love you, and when you're in a relationship and you love the person and they're constantly manipulating you to tell you that they love you, but their acts of love are different, so I think what made me stay was, like I love him, and he must love me if he can hit me, he must really love me. So it's strange, because now I know that's not love, but at the time, when you're involved with someone and you really love them, it's just so hard to let go,
Domestic abuse was reported in 59,541 cases in Scotland between 2017 and 2018. Figures released on a recent BBC story about domestic abuse show that there was 173 domestic killings last year, which makes it the highest figure since 2014. This was provided by 42 police forces in the UK. Domestic abuse is committed between partners, including ex-partners, and can happen anywhere, including online. As our understanding of mental health improves, we understand more deeply the ramifications of domestic abuse, the lasting impact, and the potential support required, even if the abused has never been physically harmed.
I could have just walked away at any point because I have the freedom of choice, I've learned to forgive myself, because I never walked away. I never loved myself enough to know that I didn't need to put up with that, like that's his problem and his journey, and I should have walked away from that. But yes, this love is blind, and it's just a true fact. So love is blind, So
If you are in a situation that is abusive and potentially dangerous and could put you or your children in immediate danger, call 999. Don't question yourself. This is what you need to do. You will be removed from the situation and help will be on its way to you. There are a variety of support networks dedicated to help those directly affected by domestic abuse. You are not alone. The law is on your side. The support is available for immediate situations and for ongoing support. Don't wait until it's too late.
my own self-esteem was severely tarnished, so that's something through the years that I would say is just a continuous work to don't know if you never ever really get it back fully, or it's always tainted, So, but yeah, I think it does draw out insecurities, and I think life after that is a process of learning how to love yourself again.
Quote taken from gov.uk by Justice Secretary Hamza Yousaf. The Domestic Abuse Act makes absolutely clear that coercive and controlling behaviour is domestic abuse and a crime. I am proud Scotland is leading the way with this groundbreaking legislation, which uniquely recognises the effects of domestic abuse on children victims as well as adults.
Low self-esteem, low low sense of self-worth.
Yeah.
You know, because in arguments and things, he would tell me things that was completely criticising me and trying to put me down, and again that manipulation, you know, and really trying to. Not sure I'll ever know what he was really trying to do, you know, but all I can say is how it made me feel, you know.